In a single morning, Iran's entire power structure was shaken. The supreme leader, the most powerful man in Iran, was suddenly gone. Along with him, top generals, intelligence chiefs, and senior officials. Within hours, Iran was facing its biggest power vacuum in decades. So the real question now is, who actually controls Iran?
All right, let's just jump right in. Because what we're talking about here is, well, it's nothing short of a geopolitical earthquake. This is one of those events that literally redraws the map of power in the Middle East, practically overnight.
I mean, think about this. In a single morning, Iran loses its supreme leader, its defense minister, its top military commander, and over 40 other senior officials. We're talking about an entire generation of leadership just gone.
And this is what really gets at the sheer scale of the crisis. You see, this isn't just about one leader being replaced, it's the entire command structure, erased. No exaggeration, this is, hands down, the most severe leadership crisis Iran has faced in over 35 years. So that begs the question, right? Who exactly was lost in this strike? Because look, to even begin to understand who's in charge now, we've got to wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of who is gone.
And when you look at the list, what's just staggering is the concentration of power. Right at the top, of course, Ayatollah Khamenei. He was the supreme leader for over 3 decades, the ultimate authority. Then you've got Mohammad Pakpour, the head of the insanely powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. And if that wasn't enough, add the National Defense Secretary and the Chief of the Armed Forces. I mean, these guys weren't just politicians. They were the very pillars of the Iranian state.
But it goes even deeper than that. We're also talking about the defense minister, the commander of the IRGC's aerospace force, that's the group that controls all the missiles and drones, even Khamenei's personal military advisor and the head of intelligence. So see, the strike didn't just take out the top brass, it wiped out their key deputies, their strategists, pretty much the entire supporting command structure.
Okay, so all of this creates this enormous power vacuum. And that leads us to the absolute central question we're trying to answer here. With that entire top tier just gone, who is actually running Iran right now?
Well, the answer, for the moment anyway, is a 3-person council. And what jumps out at you immediately is the mix of people here. You've got the president, Masoud Pezeshkian, who's seen as a moderate. Then there's the chief justice, a well-known hardliner, and a senior cleric thrown into the mix. So this is definitely not some unified government. It's more like a temporary, and probably very fragile, committee trying to steer a massive ship in the middle of a hurricane.
And to really get why this whole situation is so complicated, you have to understand Iran's unique system of government. Most countries, they have one top leader, right? A president, a prime minister. Well, Iran, they basically have 2.
And the one with the real power was the supreme leader. He was the ultimate political and religious authority. Sure, the president runs the government day to day, but the supreme leader, he had the final say on, well, everything, from going to war to managing the economy. So his death isn't just like losing a president, it's more like the entire system just lost its center of gravity.
So this is basically what the power hierarchy looked like. You had the supreme leader at the very top, below him, the elected president, but, and this is key, notice that third player on the list, the IRGC. They are an absolutely crucial piece of this whole puzzle.
And here's the thing you have to understand about the IRGC. It is not just an army. It's this sprawling empire. It controls the country's entire missile and nuclear programs. It directs all the proxy groups you hear about, like Hezbollah, and it has its hands in huge sectors of the economy. The IRGC is basically a state within a state, and now its commander is also gone.
So where does all this lead? Well, to the inevitable outcome, a massive internal power struggle to choose the next permanent supreme leader. And let me tell you, this is where the real battle for the future of Iran begins.
But picking a successor is going to be incredibly difficult this time around. Why? Okay, for a few huge reasons. First, a lot of the top candidates were also killed in the strikes. Problem number 2, the group that officially picks the leader, it's this body of 88 clerics called the Assembly of Experts, they can't even meet safely right now. And maybe most importantly, you've now got the 2 most powerful factions in the country, the military guys in the IRGC and the religious establishment, locked in a direct struggle for control.
So, okay, let's look at who's actually left standing. Who are the main contenders? First, you have Mujtaba Khamenei, who is the son of the former supreme leader. And crucially, he has strong backing from the IRGC. Then there's Ali Reza Arafai, a senior cleric, but he has pretty weak ties to the military. And finally, Ali Larijani, an experienced diplomat who's actually negotiated with the West before. But look at that last column, IRGC support. In a fight like this one, that's the kingmaker.
But here's the thing. For the frontrunner, Mujtaba, there's this one massive problem. A huge ideological problem. The entire point of the 1979 revolution was to get rid of a monarchy, to end father-to-son rule. So can you imagine appointing the son of the last supreme leader? It would look like a total betrayal of the revolution's founding principles. And you can bet a lot of clerics are absolutely, fiercely opposed to that idea.
So you see, this choice, it isn't really just about picking one person to be in charge. It's about choosing between three completely different futures for Iran and for its relationship with the rest of the world.
All right, let's break down what those futures could look like. Path number 1, the IRGC gets its way and their guy, Mojtaba, wins. What does that mean? Well, it probably means something like a military junta, much more hardline policies, and yeah, they'd almost certainly accelerate the nuclear program. Okay, path number 2. A more moderate cleric, maybe someone like Arafi or Larijani, takes over. That could actually open the door to new negotiations with the West, maybe ease some sanctions and kind of pull Iran back from the brink. And then there's the third possibility. The whole thing just collapses. Regime collapse. That would mean civil unrest, internal conflict, and a giant, dangerous power vacuum.
And of course, none of this is happening in a vacuum, right? The instability in Tehran is already sending shockwaves across the entire globe. The whole world is basically on edge right now, just watching, waiting to see which one of those three futures becomes reality.
What's the first thing everyone's worried about? Oil. Of course. Iran sits right on the Strait of Hormuz, which is a critical choke point for the world's energy supply. So, are oil prices about to skyrocket? Is shipping in the region still secure? Right now, absolutely nobody knows.
And then what about Iran's whole network of proxies? Think about Hezbollah in Lebanon. They just lost their main patron, their main sponsor, their main source of cash and weapons. Are they just cut adrift now? All of a sudden, their entire future is up in the air.
But maybe the most terrifying, most urgent question for global security is this: who is actually in control of Iran's nuclear materials right now? With the entire command structure in total chaos, you can be sure that intelligence agencies all over the world are scrambling to get an answer to that question.
And this really sums it all up, doesn't it? Every single proxy, every ally, and every enemy of Iran is watching this power vacuum. Every single player with a stake in the Middle East, we're talking Russia, China, the US, Israel, they're all watching, trying to figure out what their next move should be. And so that leaves us right here with this one final crucial thought. Iran after Khamenei is a fundamentally different country. Whether it becomes more dangerous or less dangerous, that depends entirely on who fills this vacuum. The future of the entire Middle East, the global energy market, and even nuclear security, it all hinges on the answer to that one question. Who or what is going to fill this void? It's a moment of incredible risk, for sure, but it's also a moment of profound and completely unpredictable change.